gentlemen, my name is Kaged. This is the Kaged match, and this is a review for WWE SmackDown for January 17th, 2020. You start out with Kane coming out, cutting a promo, who is very quickly interrupted by Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt comes down like he's going to attack Kane, and then he gets cut off by Daniel Bryan, who just beats the ever-living hell out of Bray Wyatt. And that was the open to the show. And so you go directly from that to Big E with Kofi Kingston versus John Morrison with The Miz. And I really like this match. This was a great matchup. Big E with the power, and he can still move versus John Morrison, who is just incredible in the ring, as he displayed numerous times throughout this match. Doing a lot of his parkour style wrestling, which was just awesome to watch, dude. It's been a while since I've seen him. And it was very, very cool, man. It was kind of nostalgic in a way, man, because it's been like 10 years or something, and I don't really watch TNA. So it was awesome. Very cool match. At the end of the day, there was a spot where Big E was going for like a Suicina. The Miz pushes John Morrison out the way. John Morrison kicks Big E, capitalizes on that. So it's kind of heel tactics. Starship Pain, John Morrison gets the win. Good stuff all around. Then you get Usos Roman Reigns promo. And Usos have a match with the Revival. Because they're one of the teams that have been kind of trying to beat the hell out of Roman Reigns. So it becomes the Usos versus the Revival next. Good match, dude. Again, this is a team that I'm glad to see back in a WWE ring. They bring a lot to the table. They're really, really fun to watch. So it was a decent match, for sure. Usos pick up the win, kind of expected that. Then you get a bit backstage where Lacey Evans attacks Sasha Banks, and then Bayley comes in to save Sasha. So Sasha is hurt, and we find out in a few minutes that Bayley is going to be taking on Lacey Evans in place of Sasha Banks. They were in the training room. But in between those two segments, Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose have a bit where Sonya Deville is getting ready for a match with Alexa Bliss, and she asks Mandy Rose if she can bring Otis down to ringside kind of as a distraction. She wants to capitalize on having Otis there, since he's going to be anyway. And so that leads into the match with Sonya Deville and Alexa Bliss here in a little bit. Then you get to the Bayley-Lacey Evans match. I mean, what can I say, man? I wasn't that into it. Lacey Evans gets the win. You already knew that was going to happen. And there you go. That's all I have to say about it. Chad Gable, in an interview, starts talking about how Sheamus, he comes in and he's immediately trying to capitalize on the little guy. Sheamus shows up, starts making a couple of short jokes, but then gets really serious Sheamus. And Chad Gable kind of like tackles him into something that was right there next to the interview spot. Sheamus gets really pissed off. Chad Gable's already gone, throws the table, and he gets this really like, crazed look on his face, which he does really good. So that was a decent segment. Braun Strowman then has an interview where, initially they're asking about Royal Rumble, but he's like, let's concentrate on the fact that I beat Shinsuke Nakamura like however many times. I want Nakamura. Elias is then making a song in the ring, but gets cut off by Sami Zayn, Shinsuke Nakamura, and Cesaro. Elias starts talking trash to them. They go in the ring. They start beating them down. And then, of course, Braun Strowman comes out for the save. It's kind of exactly what you would expect. Nothing really grabbed me here. Then you get a cool Rocky Johnson tribute, of course. Rock. The Rock's father, he just passed away, so he was pretty big, I think, in making African Americans a lot more prominent in WWE programming. Did a lot to, forward move the culture because at that time, it was still very divided. So that was cool. And then you get Sonya Deville with Mandy Rose and Heavy Machinery versus Alexa Bliss with Nikki Cross. And this is not interesting. I guess is the best way to say it. So here, Mandy Rose tries to crawl up on the turnbuckle. She gets pushed off of the turnbuckle off to the outside where Otis catches her. And while that's happening, Alexa Bliss rolls up Sonya Deville and gets the pinfall. So the distraction that Sonya was hoping would help her actually hurt her. And like I said, it's been looking for a while like they're splitting up Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville. We'll see what happens. Then you get Baron Corbin, Dolph Ziggler, and Robert Roode bragging about all the stuff they've done to Roman Reigns and, you know, congratulating Robert Roode on what he did to Roman Reigns last week. No big deal. Then you get Roman Reigns versus Robert Roode in a tables match, and this is exactly what you would expect. The match was decent at best. Baron Corbin comes out, Dolph Ziggler comes out, the Usos come out. Of course, it's a free-for-all at some point. At the end of the day, the Usos take out Baron Corbin and Dolph Ziggler. Roman Reigns spears Robert Roode through a table inside the ring. And then the big announcement for the stipulation is Falls Count Anywhere. They kind of do the same kind of match and just give it a different name. So I expect that the match is going to be exactly what this match was. Decent at best. You're going to have interference from Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode and the Usos. I mean, same shit, different day, really. So that was SmackDown. And you got, you know, Kane, Bray Wyatt, Daniel Bryan Open was alright. The best part of the show to me was John Morrison coming back. John Morrison versus Big E and the Usos versus the Revival were really good. I think just about everything else on this show I didn't really care about. So, that being said, because of John Morrison and the Usos, I'm going to give it a 3 out of 10. I think everything else was pretty lackluster. Heading into the Royal Rumble, that's a bad sign. So, they really got to pick up the pace. That's where I'm at. 3 out of 10. Let me know what you think in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, hit the like button, subscribe, and share. My name is Kevin Jack with Kaged Nation. Out.